In the previous example, in the previous lecture, we have seen the examples based on the interval minus L to L. Okay. Now we are going to have the another topic that is the half range Fourier series. Okay. So let us see what we have for half range Fourier series. So today we'll have the half range Fourier series. Okay, so when we say half range, we need to understand what is going to be the half range. So if I consider the interval, okay, minus L to L, then we have 0. And if I consider the interval 0 to 2L, okay, so we have two types of interval. One is minus L to L and the other is 0 to 2L. So if I consider the half of this, then we have this is the half and this is the half. And if I consider for this interval, then these are this is the half and this is the half. So what we have, the common to both of this type is 0 to L. And so if I consider half of the interval, then this is called half range Fourier series. So here our range or the interval is always 0 to L. So we have to see the Fourier series in the range now 0 to L. Yeah, so we have two types of Fourier series in this range 0 to L. Okay, one we have half range cosine series. So we have here half range cosine series. So what is the half range cosine series we have? Remember that always your length interval is now 0 to N. Okay, so we have f of x is equal to a0 plus summation n running from 1 to infinity an cos of n pi x by L. Let this equation 1, and where we have a0 is equal to, be careful here, okay, so 1 upon L, 0 to L, f of x dx, and we have an is equal to 2 upon L, 0 to L, f of x cos of n pi x by L dx. Okay, so this is the formula for the half range cosine series. Now we have the another one. So the second we have half range sine series, and the interval for this is again 0 to L. So whenever you say half range, then the interval is always 0 to L. Okay. So how we are able to write the half range sine series? Okay. So that we have to see. Okay. Like another one. So we have half range Fourier series which is in the interval 0 to L. So first we have half range cosine series. So it is in the interval 0 to L. And then we have the formula for that. So we have f of x is equal to a0 plus summation n running from 1 to infinity an cos of n pi x by L. That is equation 1, where we have a0 is equal to 1 upon L integral 0 to L f of x dx, and we have an is equal to 2 upon L integral 0 to L f of x cos of n pi x by L dx. Now we have to think of the next half range sine series. Again, we have the interval 0 to L. So here we have f of x is equal to, as we want only sine series, so we have n running from 1 to infinity, we have only bn, and we have sine of n pi x by L. At this equation 1, where bn we have, please be careful for the formula. So integral 2 by L 0 to L f of x into sine of n pi x by L dx. Okay, so this is how we have the two formulas for half range sine series and half range cosine series. So in half range cosine series, we want only the cosine term. In half range sine series, we want only the sine term. So here we are forced to find only either sine or only either cosine series. Okay. So now let us see some examples based on this. So we'll have find half range cosine series for f of x is equal to sin x in 0 to pi with period 2 pi. So we go with the solution. So let what we have is f of x is equal to sin x be defined in 0 to pi with period 2 pi. Okay, so what we have here, we have, see, compare this given interval to 0 to L. So we can have this is 0 and this is going to be L. So we got L is equal to pi. So we have here L is equal to pi. And once we have L is equal to pi, I want to find the cosine half range cosine series. So we have to use this formula. Now let us use this formula. So what we'll have here, hence the half range cosine series for f of x is given as, so what we have here, this is f of x is equal to a0 plus summation n running from 1 to infinity, L is going to be pi, so it is an cos of nx let it equation 1, where we have a0 is equal to. So what is the term of a0 we have? This is 1 upon pi integral 0 to pi f of x dx, and an is equal to 2 upon pi integral 0 to pi f of x cos of nx and dx. So these are the formulas we have, and we have the function f of x is equal to sin x. So let us evaluate these coefficients a0 and an. Please write the proper formula for a0 and an, then only your evaluation will be correct. Okay, so now consider first coefficient a0. So we have 1 upon pi integral 0 to pi, and here we have f of x is sin x dx. So we have 1 upon pi integral, we are able to take, and this is cos of x minus cos of x. The limit are from 0 to pi. Okay, so let us apply this. So we have 1 upon pi. You will be having minus cos of pi minus minus plus cos of 0. Okay, what we know is cos of pi is equal to minus 1, and cos of 0 is equal to 1. So if I put these values here, 1 upon pi, what is the term I'll be having? Minus of minus 1 and plus 1. So this is going to be 1 upon pi, 1 plus 1, and we get this 2 by pi. So we got here is a0. Hence we can write a0 is equal to 2 upon pi. Now let this equation 2. Okay, so we got a0, we wanted a0, we got a0. Now we have to find out an. So let us find an. So we can have an is equal to, now we have an is equal to 2 upon pi integral 0 to pi sin x into cos of nx dx. Okay, so what we know is, we know sin a cos b is equal to 1/2 sin of a plus b plus sin of a minus b. Okay, so that's what we have. Now use this formula, and hence we are able to write an is equal to 2 upon pi integral 0 to pi half of sin of x plus nx plus sin of x minus nx, and this is dx. So we can see that this 2 and this 2 will get cancelled, and hence we have, this is 1 upon pi integral 0 to pi. What will get here? Sin of 1 plus nx plus sin of 1 minus nx. Okay, and this is going to be dx. Or we can write this as 1 upon pi 0 to pi. Here we have sin of n plus 1 x minus sin of n minus 1 x and dx. So here I have taken this minus sign out, and then we got this expression. Now let us integrate this. So we have 1 upon pi. The integration of sin is going to be minus cos of n plus 1x upon n plus 1 minus minus plus cos of n minus 1x upon n minus 1, and the limit is 0 to pi. Okay, now let us apply this limit. So 1 upon pi minus cos of n plus 1 pi upon n plus 1 plus cos of n minus 1 pi upon n minus 1. Then we are using lower limit, so minus minus plus cos of 0 upon n plus 1. minus cos of 0 upon n minus 1. Now we got this one. So here what we know is, since cos of n plus or minus 1 pi is equal to minus of minus 1 plus 2 n. So that's why we can write this as minus of minus 1 raised to n, and hence we get this 1 upon pi. Already we have minus and we get minus here, so this will become minus 1 raised to n upon n plus 1. Then this will be minus 1 raised to upon minus 1 raised to n upon n minus 1, plus this is 1 upon n plus 1, and this term is minus 1 upon n minus 1. Now let us simplify this. So we have 1 by pi. This term and this term we can write together. So I'll be having 1 plus minus 1 raised to n upon n plus 1. This minus common here, and 1 plus minus 1 raised to n upon n minus 1. Okay. So now you can see this numerator is same. So we can have this 1 plus minus 1 raised to n upon pi, and here we have 1 upon n plus 1 minus 1 upon n minus 1. So let us simplify this. 1 upon pi, this is 1 plus minus 1 raised to n. Now we can have, okay, so here we'll be having this n minus 1 minus n minus 1 upon, you will be having n square minus 1. So a plus b, a minus b, a square minus b square. This n will get cancelled, and so we'll be having minus 1 and minus 1 minus 2. So we get this minus 2, 1 plus minus 1 raised to n upon pi, and this is n square minus 1. Now we get an is equal to, so we have an is equal to minus 2, 1 plus minus 1 raised to n upon pi, and n square minus 1. Now whenever we have this term 1 plus or minus minus 1 raised to n, we have to consider what happens if n is even and what happens if n is odd. So we have to consider that, and hence if n is an odd, then minus 1 raised to n is equal to minus 1. So this term will become minus 1. So 1 minus 1 is going to be 0. So you get an is equal to 0. And now if n is an even, then minus 1 raised to n is equal to 1. Okay. So if it is going to be 1 here, then what we can have is this is going to be 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 into minus 2. So we have an is equal to minus 4 upon pi n square minus 1. Okay. So this is the equation 3. Here we have the condition if n is not equal to 1. Because if n goes 1, this formula is not applicable. Okay. And hence we have to be careful that if n is not equal to 1, then this will not be applicable. So we have to find out what happens at n is equal to 1. So let n is equal to 1, then we have a1 is equal to 2 upon pi integral 0 to pi. The function is sin x, and here we have this is cos of nx. N is going to be 1, so this is going to be x, and so we can write here. See, 2 upon pi 0 to pi. This is sine of 2x by 2 and dx. This 2 and this 2 will get cancelled, so we can have 1 upon pi, and here we have integral 0 to pi sine of 2x dx. So we get here 1 upon pi. What is the value we have here? So this is cos of 2x minus cos of 2x by 2, and this is 0 to pi. So we have 1 upon 2 pi minus cos of 2x, and we have to apply the limit 0 to pi. Now let us simplify this. So we have 1 upon 2 pi. Now this is minus cos of 2 pi. We'll have minus minus plus cos of 0. So what we know? We know that cos of 2 pi is equal to cos of 0 is equal to 1. And hence, what we'll get here? 1 upon 2 pi minus 1 plus 1. So it is 0. So this was A1, and hence we got A1 is equal to 0. So this is your equation. Okay. Now we can see we got the value of An, we got the value of A0, and so we are able to write down this half range cosine series. So let us write this half range cosine series. So we can write from equations 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. The half range cosine series for f of x is equal to, what we know, this is 2 by pi, A0. Okay. So that's what we have. A0 is equal to 2 by pi. Now see, what about An? So An exists only if n is even. Okay, so An exists only if n is even. And we have seen that A1 is equal to 0. Okay, so let us write this. So minus 4 upon pi summation 1 upon n square minus 1 cos of nx. Here, what we know the condition, to have this formula, n has to be even. So we must write this condition here. And hence, what we calculated? We calculated the half range cosine series for the function sine. So it is 2 by pi minus 4 upon pi summation n running from all even terms 1 upon n square minus 1 and cos of nx. So this way we are able to find the half range cosine series for the function f of x is equal to sine x. Okay. So this way we are able to get the first example based on the half range Fourier series. So in this example, we have calculated half range cosine series. So do you have any doubt in this example? Whatever we have calculated as a half range cosine series?
Yes, sir. I want to ask that, as we know, when n is odd, that an will be 0. So we can write directly know that a1 is equal to 0. Why we have to find that?
Yes, absolutely correct. Because the general formula is not applicable for n is equal to 1. So you can see where I have written that for not n is equal to 1. You can see before applying the n is even and odd. Okay. So before applying n even and odd, I have written here, because if you use this formula, okay, forget about even and odd case. If you use this formula,
Yes,
we are not able to calculate a1 from this formula. Okay, so if I say n is an odd number, so in general, when n is an odd number, put n is equal to 1. Is this formula applicable?
yes, sir. But
So
not
that's
for
why,
one.
Yes, yes. So that's why before applying an odd and even, I have written that this formula is not applicable for n is equal to 1. Okay, so when general formula is not applicable for any particular term, then we have to find that particular term using the original formula once again. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
this
Understood.
formula is good. Yes, that's good. Okay, so if any one of you have any other doubt, is there any other doubt for anyone? Okay, so that's good. You don't have any doubt. So let's have the another example. Okay, so we'll have another example. So in this example, we have calculated the sine series. Let's have we have calculated the cosine series. Let's have the sine series. So we'll go with the example. Find half range sine series for f of x is equal to, it's going to be x is going to be pi minus x. This is 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to pi by 2, and this is pi by 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to pi. Okay, with period. Okay, so we need to be careful that half range series is always in between 0 to L. So this is 0 and this is going to be L. So that we have to identify immediately. Okay, so we go with the solution. Let f of x is equal to x 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to pi by 2, and this is pi minus x when pi by 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to pi. Okay, we find in 0 to pi with period. So remember one thing that with period 2 pi, this is unnecessary term given to you. Okay, so just to confuse, nothing else. Okay, so if it is given, okay, if it is not given, because here we have to look for the definition of the function where it is defined, and that we have to consider from 0 to pi. Okay, so here what we can have then, we have L is equal to pi. Okay, so that we need to identify. Okay, so once we identified that L is equal to pi, now I want to have the half range sine series. Okay, so we can say the half range sine series for f of x is given as, okay, so what we'll have in the half range sine series, we have only bn. So we'll have summation n running from 1 to infinity bn, and you can have here sine of nx. So let this equation 1. So we have where bn is equal to, see, we have declared that L is equal to pi, so we get 2 upon pi 0 to pi, we have f of x, and this is sine of nx dx. So please use proper brackets. That's what we have. Now what we have to do is we can see the definition of the function. So for 0 to pi by 2 it is x. From pi by 2 to pi it is pi minus x. So if you try to see this function, okay, the graph of this function is like this. Okay, so this is going to be 0. This we have pi by 2, and this we have pi. So you can see the graph of this function will be from 0 to pi by 2. So this is going to be pi by 2. So it is x, and after that it is pi minus x. So it will be like this. So this is your f of x. Okay. Now we have to find the integral. So what we have to do is we have to find from 0 to pi by 2, because here the definition of the function is changing. So the curve is changing, and hence we have to split this integral into two parts, from 0 to pi by 2 and pi by 2 to pi. Okay. So we can have this integral as, this will be 2 by pi, and here we have 0 to pi by 2. It is x sine nx. Okay. Then dx plus, from pi by 2 to pi, it is pi minus x and sine of nx dx. Now you can see in both the integrals, again, what we have x into sine of nx. So here we have x sine of nx. This is pi minus x into sine of nx. So this is u and v. For this integral, this is u and this is v. And hence we have to use the generalized by parts rule for both these integrals. So we write here using generalized by parts rule, we get. So what you are able to get here, see, we got Bn is equal to 2 upon pi for the first integral. For this integral, we have x as it is, integration of this term. So it is going to be minus cos of nx upon n minus the derivative of this term. So it is going to be 1, and integration of this term. So it is minus sine of nx upon n square. And the limit for this are 0 to pi by 2. Please be careful for the limits of the integration. Okay, then plus. The next, for this we'll have pi minus x as it is, and the integration of sine minus cos of nx upon n, then minus the derivative of this term is minus 1, and the integration, what do you have? Minus sine of nx upon n square, and the limit here are pi by 2. Okay. So as I said, please be careful for the limits. Pi by 2 to pi. Now, see, what we have, this limit will vanish at 0, but not at pi by 2. So as we used to write generally that sine term vanish, in this example, the sine terms will not vanish like that. Okay, and hence we have to be careful. So let us apply the limit. So we get, this is 2 by pi. Okay, for this integral, we'll simplify. This is minus x cos of nx upon n. This minus minus will become plus, and we'll be having sine of nx upon n square, and the limits are 0 to pi by 2. Okay, now plus, for this integral, we can have this minus sign. I can absorb this here, and so I can write this as x minus pi cos of nx upon n. This minus minus minus, allow minus sine of nx upon n square. The limit is pi by 2 to pi. That's what we will do. Now, after simplification, we'll apply these limits. So we get Dn is equal to, we'll have Dn is equal to 2 upon pi. So apply this pi by 2. So this is going to be pi by 2. So I can write minus pi by 2n. Okay. So we can have this. This is pi by 2 and this is n. And here I'll be having cos of n pi by 2. Now plus we'll have 1 upon n square. And here I'll be having the term sine of n pi by 2. This is the upper limit when we have pi by 2. Now put 0. So if I put 0, this term will be plus 0 and sine is 0. So this term will be minus 0. So this is the value for the first integral. Now plus for the second integral. So what we have for the second integral, see, we have the limit pi. Okay. So if I put pi, then x minus pi. So pi minus pi is going to be 0. Sine is 0. So this is going to be 0. Now lower limit. So I'll be having minus. Okay. So here x minus pi. So pi by 2 minus pi. I'll be having this is minus pi by 2 and n. Okay. And this I'll be having cos of n pi by 2. Then I'll be having this minus minus plus and I'll have 1 upon n square sine of n pi by 2. This is, these are the limits. Okay. So now simplify this. So we'll have this is 2 upon pi. This term is minus pi by 2n cos of n pi by 2 plus 1 upon n square sine of n pi by 2. Then I'll be having this minus and this minus will become plus pi upon 2n cos of n pi by 2 plus 1 upon n square sine of n pi by 2. Okay. So you can see this term and this term will get cancelled. So I'll be having 2 upon pi and here I'll be having 2 upon n square sine of n pi by 2. So we can write this as 4 upon n square pi sine of n pi by 2. So we get here, hence this is Bn we were calculating. So Bn is equal to 4 upon n square pi sine of n pi by 2. So we can have this as equation 2. And hence what we can write is from equation 1 and 2. Good. 1 and 2. The half range sine series for f of x is, so we have to put only the value of this bn, and hence we get f of x is equal to 4 upon pi is a constant, n running from 1 to infinity, 1 upon n square sine of n pi by 2. This is a part of the constant, and here we have sine of nx. So this way we are able to find the half range sine series for this function f of x. So do you have any doubt in this example? So is there any doubt in this example that we have seen or we have calculated the half range sine series for the function? Okay, that's good. You don't have any doubt. So I hope you are getting what we are learning. Correct? Good. Okay. So let's have the another example. Okay. So we'll see one more example based on this half range series. So we'll have here obtain the half range cosine series for f of x is equal to x, where 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to m. So here, go with the solution. Let f of x equal to x be defined in 0 to 2. So we have L is equal to 2. As I already told you that this is the interval always 0 to L. Okay, the interval is always given 0 to L. So that's why we get L is equal to 2. And hence we write the half range cosine series for f of x is given as f of x is equal to a0 plus summation n running from 1 to infinity an cos of n pi x by L. So always we have to write n pi x by L for the interval 0 to L. Here we have identified L is equal to 2. So we write this, and then this is going to be equation 1. Now where we can have a0 is equal to 1 upon L integral 0 to L f of x dx. Here the value of L is going to be 2. Okay, that's why we have declared it earlier so that we can change the formulas accordingly. And we have an is equal to 2 upon L integral 0 to L f of x cos of n pi x by L dx. So here again value of L is equal to 2, so we have replaced it. So these are the formulas, and now we have to evaluate this a0 and an. Now consider a0 is equal to half of 0 to x, and this is going to be dx. So we got half of, this will be x square by 2 and 0 to 2. So we have half of 4 by 2 minus 0. So it is half of 2. That's going to be 1. So we got here a0 is equal to 1. So once you get a0 equal to 1, so this is your equation 2. Now we have to find out what is going to be an. So let us calculate what we have an. So we have an is equal to integral 0 to 2 x into cos of an x dx. So here we have, this is u and this is going to be v. So we have to use u into v rule. Remember that I am writing this u and v for you. Okay, you don't have to write in the examination. For your understanding, I am writing this u and v here. Okay, so we can write using generalized by parts rule. Okay, we get. Okay, so what we are able to get is, see, an is equal to, here this x remains as it is, and the integration we have sine of, you have to be careful here. Okay, so what we got here is n pi x by 2. Okay, So here we have n pi x by 2. So here we get n pi x by 2 upon n pi by 2. Okay, minus the derivative of this term is going to be 1 and integration of this. So minus cos of n pi x by 2 on n pi by 2 bracket square, and here we have the limit 0 to. Okay, now let us apply the limit. So if I apply 2, then I'll get sine of n pi. If I apply 0, then I'll get sine of 0. So we can say, since sine of n pi is equal to sine of 0 is equal to 0. So that is the sine terms in above equation vanish at 0 and 2. And hence, what we get, so we have an is equal to, this minus minus will become plus, so I'll be having 2 upon n pi square, and this is cos of 2n, this is I'll be having n pi x by 2, n pi x by 2, and the limit is 0 to. I'll be having 4 upon n square pi square, and this cos of n pi. So we put here is x is equal to 2, so I'll be having 2 will get cancelled, cos of n pi, and minus I'll be having cos of 0. So now let us see what we have here. So it is 4 upon n square pi square. This cos of n pi is minus 1 raised to n, cos of 0 is 1. So we know is, since cos of n pi is equal to minus 1 raised to n and cos of 0 is equal to 1, we get this. So this is what your a and we have, and now because of this term we have to check what happens if n is even and n is odd. So if n is even, then minus 1 raised to n is equal to 1, and hence you get then an is equal to 0. So if n is odd, then what will be having, minus 1 raised to n is equal to minus 1. So this is minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 2. And if you have this minus 2, then this an will become minus 8 upon n square pi square. So this is equation 3. Okay. Here we got an, we got a0. So once we have a0 and we have an, we are able to write this half range cosine series, and hence here we write, so from equation 1 and 2, the half range cosine series for f of x is, so what we have here, f of x is equal to a0. What is the a0 we have calculated? So a0 is equal to 1, and this is a. So if a0 is equal to, here we get, this is going to be 1 minus 8 upon pi square. This is going to be constant, we can take it outside. So 1 upon n square cos of n pi x by 2. But we have to be careful, when this exists only if n is odd, and hence we have to write here n is odd. So when n is odd, then only this expansion exists. Okay, and that's why we have to be careful. So what we got x is equal to 1 minus 8 upon pi square summation when n is odd 1 upon n square cos of n pi x by 2. So this is the half range series, precisely half range cosine series for the function f of x is equal to x. So here we have expressed x as a half range cosine series. So do you have any doubt in the examples that we have solved for half range cosine series or half range sine series? Okay. That's good. You don't have any doubt for this. Okay, that's great. Okay. So good. So here we are done with the Fourier series, which discretizes the function into its basic components or the frequency components or the fundamental frequency components. Okay. Now this Fourier series gives you the base for the Fourier integral transform or the Fourier transform. Okay, and that's why it is necessary to understand the Fourier series, the discretized form. So once we are able to understand the discretized form, definitely we are able to understand the continuous form.